All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another quick post-fight discussion video. All right, y'all, let's talk about it. Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. All right, y'all, shout out to Gillian Robertson, man. She went in there. She dominated Waterson. I was a little torn between this fight, between both fighters. I kept thinking that, Michelle was going to rise to the occasion, try to end that losing streak. But when it came down to it, Gillian Robertson, bigger, stronger, of course, much better on the ground. Michelle Waterson just didn't have that stand up to get that respect, and that's what it really came down to. Is Michelle Waterson just not using the game plan of using her speed and her hands, because if she was going to use her kicks all night and she was going to go to the body with kicks, that was going to leave her wide open for Gillian Robertson's takedowns. Jillian wasn't going to have to work as hard. She was going to fall right into G Rob's game plan, and that's kind of how it played out. So I was a little torn. I was going with Waterson at first. Then I said, you know what, G Rob might pull this thing off, especially when I seen like the size difference. Like when round one started and I could see like how big Gillian Robertson was compared to Michelle Waterson, I was like, okay, this might be a problem, because if she gets her down and she puts that top pressure on her, it's going to be a wrap. But I got to give Michelle Waterson some credit here. I mean, she did survive. She survived on the ground, survived a lot of heavy strikes and the submission attempts of G Rob. So I give her credit there. But yeah, G Rob was just too much for her. Right from the jump in round one, G Rob was just setting the pace with her striking. Looked much better. And this is what I was saying. Like, Gillian Robertson doesn't need to be like the best striker in the world. When I say she needs to improve and become well-rounded, that's just what I mean. Like, you got to add that. You got to add at least a couple more tools to your game if you want to advance. If you want to beat these fighters in the top 15, you just can't be a specialist. You can't just be a specialist working on one thing all the time. You have to grow in other departments. You have to grow in other disciplines. And I think Michelle Waterson, at first I was thinking that, okay, maybe her striking is going to give G Rob a problem, but nah, Gillian Robertson, she came out putting effective pressure on behind a jab. She was throwing some good right hands. She was snapping Michelle Waterson's head back, which I was surprised with. But what I really liked is how Gillian Robertson was catching Michelle with that right hand as Michelle would try to circle to her left. Every time she would try to circle out to her left, Gillian was actually catching her with that right hand. And those shots, they were impressive because they were putting Michelle's back to the cage. And that's where Gillian was able to close that distance, get her first takedown in the first round. And from there, this is what she does. Gillian kept it down. She was able to transition from side control at times, putting some heavy strikes on Michelle, get that full mount. And at times while she was in that full mount, landing some hard ground and pound, I could see how she was like trying to separate that left arm as well, just kind of softening Michelle up so she could get that arm bar. And she locked it in at one point. But yeah, Michelle, like I said, she was able to defend it. So Gillian Robertson went back to that ground and pound and just dominated the first round, which you could argue was a 10-8. The second round, same deal. Gillian just putting on a lot of pressure. Every now and then, Michelle would land like a good shot, like she did here. That hard uppercut. Just a few shots, but again, just too small and not enough pop on the shots to get Gillian's respect. You got to really come with that power to hurt Gillian Robertson, and Michelle wasn't able to do that. And even when she tried to load up kicks, the pressure of Gillian was just too fast. Like every time Gillian would be out of range and she would try to load up, Michelle would try to load up a kick, Gillian was on her. Gillian was on her and she was closing that distance before any kick could really land solid. And she caught a couple of the kicks, and that's what I was thinking too, man. Like if she throws kicks to the chest or body, she's going to catch him. And she caught one of those kicks in the second round, closed that distance. Michelle's trying to keep her back to the cage. Gillian had that good burst of strength, pulled her off, got a good slam and takedown. And once again, right back to square one for Michelle, trying to fight off of her back. And again, in that full mount, Gillian just landed some heavy ground and pound. Third round, though, man, this was a big mistake. Michelle, I know it was probably going to be impossible for her to get a finish at this point, but she would have been better off trying to keep the fight on her feet. But Michelle actually drops the level and tries to go in for her own takedown and nearly gets locked into a guillotine. She almost gets locked into a guillotine. Gillian Robertson goes right back to square one again, man. Whenever she loses that guillotine, she just starts controlling the top position again. Just smothering Michelle and putting that ground and pound, that heavy ground and pound. And really doing some damage, with those heavy elbows and strikes that she's landing. And that's why I always say about Gillian Robertson, she might not be the best striker on the feet, but whenever she's on the ground, she's like a street fighter. She'll let them hands go. She'll hammer fist you. She'll drop elbows on you. And the evidence was here. She was really busting Michelle Waterson up pretty bad. At the end of the round, she had the swollen cheekbone, mouse under her eye. I wouldn't be surprised if her jaw might be a little swollen today. Might be a fractured jaw. I don't know. But yeah, Gillian Robertson, she dominated this fight. Could have been 30-24, like I was saying. Every round was just, one-sided, completely drowned. Gillian Robertson just did what she had to do in this fight. So yeah, shout out to Gillian. From here, I think, Gillian Robertson, she's probably going to move up to number 13 or 14. She was 15 and Michelle was 14, so she'll probably get that 14 spot. From here, she said she'll fight anybody from 1 through 13. I would like to see Gillian in there with the winner, Mackenzie Dern versus Loopy. I think that's a good matchup for. Let's see how Dern and Mackenzie Dern. Let's see how Robertson and Dern, how they match up on the ground, or how well they'll do against each other in stand up, or even see how Loopy's able to do against Gillian Robertson. I think that's a good matchup for her. As for Michelle Waterson, as y'all know, she announced her retirement, and I think this was already in a play for her. She already told the UFC this was going to be her last fight, especially if she lost, or maybe if she did lose. That's why they went on and recorded that highlight video. She said, "If I lose, play the clips, and I'll announce my retirement." So yeah, shout out to Michelle Waterson. She gave us a long career, over 9 years in MMA. But this is a wise choice for her. She's just not the same fighter anymore. She's giving it her all. She's been in there with some of the best of them, from Rose to Joanna, Carla, Tisha, Angela Hill, everybody. She's giving a lot of people tough fights. A few fights in between there, I felt like she did win, like Luana Pinheiro fight. But yeah, I think this is best for her. She's 38 years old, and even though she looks good on the outside, on the inside, it's a different story. A lot of wear and tear. So yeah, shout out to Michelle Waterson. This is the last fight we'll pretty much be doing a post-fight discussion on for her. Hopefully it is. Hopefully this is it for her. I don't want to see her try to come back in her 40s or anything like that. But yeah, man, Gillian Robertson, I'd like to see her in there with the winner of Dern, Loopy, and maybe Angela Hill. That'd be a good test for her. See if Angela Hill's submission defense, grappling defense skills can hang with G-Rob. Guys, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.